Also known as Kensai, the sword divinity, Miyamoto Musashi dedicated his life to reach perfection throughout swordsmanship. He fought and won more than 60 life-or-death duels and ended his career invincible. He kept in touch with a large variety of arts, including painting, sculpture, calligraphy and poetry, as well as the Zen meditation and Buddhism. He left for future generations not only his fight style but also an immense legacy of masterpieces on painting, sculpture, calligraphy and poetry, as well as the most important Japanese treatise on strategy, the Book of the Five Rings Goren no Sho. Musashi Sensei, or Shinmin Musashi no Kami Fujiwara no Genshin, as he introduces himself in the preface of the Book of the Five Rings, was born in the Harima County during a very turbulent time in Japan, when the last decisive battles took place at that samurai gold era. Back to that time in Japan, it was very common that a same individual changed his or her name during different periods of his/her own life, as we usually do with nicknames and spouse-married names versus single maid names nowadays. During his childhood, Musashi Sensei was called the Shinmin Benasuke. It is assumed that he received his first instructions on kenjutsu from his own father, Shinmin Hirata Munasai. As we can read in the Book of the Five Rings, he describes as the details of his first duel when he was 13 years old only. At 16, he defeated a very skillful warrior named Tadashima Akiyama. On 1600 the Battle of Sekigahara took place, defining the destiny of Japan for the following 3 centuries. It was in this battle that Tokugawa Ieyasu ascended to power, assuming the shogun duties. It was the beginning of the Edo period 1603–1868. Musashi Sensei spent his youth during this chaotic early Edo period. Historical credits recount that he fought on the side of a defeated daimyo and warlord, Yukita Hidai, along with the defeated army in the Sekigahara battle. Despite the negative results on the battlefield, he was able to survive and escape from the bounty hunters of that time. On 1604, at 21 years of age, Musashi Sensei appears in Kyoto and his fame is spread for all over Japan after he defeated 3 important duels against 3 members of the illustrious Yoshioka family, which was responsible, years before, for the instruction of House of Shogun Ashikaga. A kind of official swordsman school for the shogun himself. He embraced on 3 duels. In the first 2 he defeated the Kenpo brothers, Seijiro and Denshijiro. After having defeated both, Yoshioka followers saw Musashi Sensei not as a simple opponent anymore, but as a true threat. They seek for revenge and arranged a 3rd duel against Madashichiro, Seijiro's son, a 13-years-old kid. Madashiro would count with the help and support of all students and followers of Yoshioka's school. It is recalled that during this duel, Musashi Sensei fought against 60 opponents at the same time, all of them armed with swords, spears, bows and arrows and even muskets. Musashi Sensei defeated all his opponents, including Madashichiro and the Yoshioka's students who crossed his path on that day. This was the end of a once-upon-time proud Yoshioka house and the start of the Miyamoto Musashi's legend. On 1621, Musashi Sensei held a legendary duel, but it was not because of his challenger, but mainly because this was the first official record of a 2-sword duel that became his trademark at Hyoho Nidan-ichi Ryu. Miyake Gunbei was his opponent, who tried to strike Musashi Sensei several times in a roll, being blocked in each one of the failed tentative. Gunbei desperately struck a direct stab, blocked by the short sword carried on the left hand by Musashi Sensei, simultaneously to a direct attack over Gunbei's front face with the long sword carried by Musashi Sensei's right hand. Gunbei recognized that he lost the duel and asked deep apologies to Musashi Sensei, bowing to him and asking to become his disciple. Musashi Sensei did not marry, but adopted two kids, Mikinosuke and Iori. Both became vassals of important feudal lords. Musashi Sensei was not a simple ronin. He was considered a master of the way and a person with great sensibility and wisdom, an advisor to be always listened and a leader to be followed. He was often invited to stay on castles and had in his inner circle the trust of respected personalities. As Takuan Soho monk and advisor for the Tokugawa shogun Honami Ketsu, a very important celebrity of the artistic movement called Kyoto Renaissance, and the feudal lords Ogasawara Tadazana and Hosokawa Tadatashi. Together with Hosokawa Lord, Musashi Sensei embraced in a very long and deep friendship. Musashi Sensei recalls on the Book of Five Rings that at his 50s he finally reached the full comprehension of the strategy. The level of understanding reached on the way was so deep that, according with his words, he was able to see the way in everything and on every detail of his life, from the time he waked up until he back to bed to sleep. Some of his paintings, sculptures and calligraphy's masterpieces reached us nowadays. He reached the perfection on the swordsmanship techniques and, thereafter, he was able to reach the same level of perfection in all of these ways. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this small adventure, please like, subscribe and hit that bell for any updates. Feel free to comment down below what you would like to see next on Exploration X.